I got this message the other day and she was just so excited and so ecstatic, being like, Ben, you'll never guess it. I served him divorce papers and he finally agreed to go to counseling. Like, we're finally going to make this work now. This is something that's finally going to happen. All this time I've been trying to tell him for such a long period of time that I want him to show up this way. And now he's finally doing it. I think this is his wake up call. I think he finally figured it out. I get these messages. I get these people with hope. They see a glimmer. An aspect that they feel is going to heal the narcissist, going to fix the problem. And unfortunately, about 9 times out of 10, it's all false. There's something that shifts and that changes at the end of your relationship that people just don't see and don't understand, but it happens very consistently. It happens consistently, and I can speak to it because it happened to me. It was part of my MO. When my wife was going back and forth debating, should I stay with this toxic guy or should I leave? Should I stay with him? Should I go? I don't want to leave because I'm afraid if I leave, then he'll cheat on me. Well, he'd already cheated on you. There's all these thoughts that were going through my wife's head, keeping her stuck with me. And she gets to the place where she would say, I am done. And it's almost like as soon as she would say she was done, there'd be this like trigger and be like, uh-oh, this is actually happening now. She's actually going to leave. What do I need to do? Please don't leave. Like, I need you. We're great together. Like we love each other. We've been through so much, like all the stuff. And so she'd stay. Then I'd continue to go back to the abusive asshole and she'd be like, nope, I'm done. But, and go back and forth. So many times that she got in the car with her daughter and drove off before she actually left. Drove off and I'm just like, she'll be back. She didn't pack clothes. She'll be back. She'll be back. She only packed the car halfway. She just got pissed. She'll be back. And I had this belief that she was always going to come back. I just knew. I knew because she was manipulated and abused so much that she was confused about who she was. She was confused and she loved me and she cared about me. So as a result, she would get pissed off and leave, but then she'd always come back. And I knew she would do this until one day she didn't. And you have to understand in these moments, there's this weird push and pull that happens internally. I'm not saying this for sympathy for the narcissist. So anybody who thinks that, just chew. There's this internal like peace where the narcissist is like, I want you to leave and I want you to get out of my life because I'm tired and sick of you. I want to go find someone else. I want to go get the high that I had when I first was with you, when I was in love bombing and when you didn't know who I was. And so he wants you to leave. So there's a piece of like, okay, my wife's going to leave. And I'm like, there's a piece of me that's like excited about it, right? Freedom is right around the door. She walks up the door. I'm done. I can go do whatever I want. But then there's also this piece of like, oh man, she just walked out the door. Now, if I stand behind the door and I watch her leave and someone saw that, I would probably look like an asshole. Like when she goes back and she tells her family that she drove off and I didn't even try to stop her, right? Like that's not romantic. That doesn't fit in like the movie image of me being the perfect person, right? So I got to do something. So he agrees, she leaves and she's walking out and I'm like, we could work on this, right? And it's weird because internally there was this piece of like, please go. I don't want to look bad. Please go. I don't want to look bad. And then there's moments where she would be like, okay, I'll stay. Then internally I'm like, shit, what do I do now? Like I was counting on you to leave so I could go do what I want. Now that you're not leaving, I'm resentful that you're even here. Even though I asked you to stay. It's messed up, I know. Like I'm not saying that this makes the most logical sense. Majority of narcissists don't make logical sense. This is just the reality of what's going on in the head. And so what's happening is you have narcissists at the end of the relationship that shift, mold, modify, change stuff up to be able to keep you, use and abuse you, to be able to protect their image. That's all it is. End of story. Done. See ya. Because this whole piece isn't where he's magically getting this epiphany. Let's use a very simple example. Let's say you said, hey, I just want you to show some appreciation for me sometime. So it'd be awesome. Like if you give me flowers every once in a while, it'd be amazing. 20 years, no flowers. Ever, no flowers. Why? Because he knows that's what you'd want. Even when you allude to it, no flowers. Then you tell him you're done. You file divorce papers. You go ahead and separate. You move out of the house. What do you get? Flowers. Now, the weird thing is, like, right leading up to the separation, divorce, like, out of the house, whatever it is, right? To that moment, the pivotal moment that you said, I'm done, right? Leading up to that point, there probably wasn't a ton of conversation like the weeks prior of, man, if you would just give me flowers, this would save the relationship. I mean, really, like, it would make my heart so much more in love with you if you just give me flowers, and then we'd be good, we'd be done, we could bypass all of the shit that you've done over the past couple of years to hurt and abuse me, and we'd be all good, right? There's not that conversation happening, right? There's much more harder and deeper conversations, anger, frustration, all the arguments, all the discussions that leading you up to a place where you're just like, I'm done. Then you get the flowers. Okay, why? In that moment, there's a piece that switches. In that moment, it's like, oh crap. Like, she's actually going to do it. She's actually going to leave. She's actually going to follow through. So what do I need to do? What I need to do would be, oh yeah, remember that thing that she said she always wanted? Let me do that. Like the thing that she's always wanted, but I've held back for so many years. The thing that she said, if you would actually plan dates and us actually spend time together, it'd be amazing. Yeah, let me do that. Let me focus on the thing that she wanted. Now, if there's anything I can point through, and please listen to me very carefully because I need you to logically understand the gravity of this. Let's say leading up to you being done, let's say a month, you don't say anything about those flowers, right? Nothing. Don't bring it up. Don't, like, not an argument, not a discussion, not anything, okay? Then you get flowers. All this does is it proves the maliciousness of the toxic guy that you're with. It proves because you didn't say, if you get me flowers, I wouldn't be done, right? You didn't say that. You just said you're done. And then you magically get flowers. You get the thing that he held back for you such a long period of time. This is the logic piece I need you to understand. If you get this, it's not because he had an epiphany. It's because he wants to control, manipulate, and abuse you. And the piece you need to hear, most pinnacle piece of all this conversation you need to hear, him giving you flowers after you say that he's done, after you say that you're done, after he hasn't done this for, say, 20 years, means for the entire 20 years, he knew. He knew. He knew what you wanted, and he purposely held it back. There's that child that purposely has the toy and just holds it tauntingly back. So the other child continues to fight, complain, struggle, scream, crawl after it. That's all he's been doing to you. It's been the donkey, and it's been the carrot in front of the donkey. The thing that's leading you forward one step at a time, making you think it's going to get better, but there's nothing coming to fruition. Making you think that there's hope in the relationship, but in reality, there is none because there's no evidence of it. There's no facts of him actually growing, changing, developing. There's just the facts of, hey, I said I was done. He got me flowers. That shows me that he already knew that's what I wanted, and he chose not to give it. He chose not to show up. He chose not to emotionally connect. Unpopular opinion that most people do not like, but I'm going to stick with it because I believe that the majority of narcissism is a freaking choice. Because a lot of narcissists will run off of feelings and emotions and oh, I just want to do what I want to do in the moment because it feels good. Yeah, that's how you fall out of love, because you think love is just a pithy little feeling instead of it being a daily choice of you showing up for someone and actually being committed. People are like, it's a disorder. We need to understand that they struggle too. Yeah, so do rapists and murderers, but that doesn't mean we just give them a pat on the back. Sometimes we do in our screwed up society. Do you see this? Do you hear what I'm trying to be able to communicate and convey to you today? Him knowing this the entire time gives you a validation that you're not going to get from him or from anyone else, that shows you just simply in front of your face very blatantly that he doesn't care about you. And in fact, it's even worse than that. He's manipulated you to a certain degree because he's realized what he can do to control you. and he's chose not to do it. He made a choice. He made a choice. Do I emotionally connect with my wife, or do I disconnect and go find someone else? He made a choice. He made a choice to cheat on you. It wasn't because he fell in love with someone else. He made a choice. Oh, I didn't think it was going to happen. He made a choice. People don't like to hear the choice conversation because it means accountability, it means responsibility, things that our society is moving away from very rapidly. Not my fault. This is why, like, narcissism isn't going away. It's only going to ramp up. Unless you do something about it for you, for your future generations, for the people that are impacted by your life. Narcissists are choosing not to show empathy, choosing not to connect with you, choosing not to be honest with you. People love the empathy one. They're like, narcissists have no empathy. It's not 100% true. If you read the DSM-5, the diagnostic criteria for narcissistic personality disorder, it says lacks empathy, semicolon, is unwilling to acknowledge or identify with the feelings and needs of others. There's also a piece of unwillingness. It's a choice. People just don't want to hear it. They'd rather live in the land of victimhood and entitlement than would accountability and responsibility. When he changes at the end of the relationship, just understand it's just manipulation. It's just control. It's just power. It's just him upping the game and how he's manipulating you so he can get the desired result. That's it. End of story. If this has resonated with you and you want help with this, then go visit rawmotivations.com.